Okay, now I got a little bit worried this evening. Got a little bit worried because we kind of went Tyler Perry land a little bit. So I don't know, but we're gonna talk about it.
And I'm like, come on through, Cookie. I want to put my soapbox. That's basically it. Let's talk about drag in all its forms. What, Cookie?
Okay, guys. So here we go. Have and Have Not, season 4, episode 3. Now, I got a little worried because it went a little Tyler Perry land on me. There was a lot of little things here that kind of went on that I was kind of like, that came straight up out of your ink pen because that's not no real life shit. But anyway, whatever. Soap opera nonetheless. So let's just go ahead and go. I told y'all last week that motherfucking Quincy better be dead when we get back in. Well, of course, Quincy wasn't dead, and I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. Quincy's ass was alive and kicking and talking shit. You've been dead 8 hours, laying on the floor. But now, on the ninth hour, you up talking shit? I was a little bothered, but I said, okay, whatever. He grabs Candace's ankle and he's telling her, help me, you got to call the ambulance and shit. And I'm like, Quincy, are you serious? You came in here with intent of killing me. You took another motherfucker who was choking me off of me and threw him out because you needed to choke me your motherfucking self. But now you want me to call the ambulance because my good girlfriend that stabbed you up in the back. No ma'am. No ma'am. Candace sat her ass right over there. He gonna say, I love you, Candy. Don't you remember about me loving you or whatever? She's like, no, I remember you dragging me. I remember you pimping me out to your friends. I remember being in the position of begging you to call the ambulance for me and you didn't. I remember you breaking my jaw. Yeah, I remember all that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait for you to die. That's what I'm going to do. And this is why I love Candace. That bitch politely sat up there just as good and watched that motherfucker. She sat on the couch just like I'm sitting on the couch and looked at that motherfucker over there laying on the floor. And she just, I said, Candace, bitch, yes. Now that's what I'm talking about. Oh, mean, evil bitch. My kind of girl. Motherfucker. Call the ambulance. No, ma'am. You lay on over there and die and shut up. Stop getting on folks' damn nerves. Like he just completely forgot that he came there to kill her. Then he goes into telling her something about the baby and the medicine, and she didn't believe him, but he's talking about if I don't get out of here, the baby's going to die, and then you'll have that on your head because I got his medicine. Really? You didn't even know where the motherfucking baby was, so just shut up. And she really didn't believe him. She paid his ass no mind, and she literally sat there till the end of the program. And by the end of the program, she got up and kicked him in the ass and said, yeah, okay, good, you're dead. He was dead the motherfucker by the end. So I was happy with that. Thank you for killing him, because I just wasn't going for a full recovery for Quincy. I couldn't do it. So we have that with them. Now the cop that took Jeffrey. Now here was a point of contention for me. So the cop, he got Jeffrey all loaded up in the car. He's taking Jeffrey downtown. Okay, no problem. Jeffrey's whimpering and crying. You know how Jeffrey does. And then he pulls the car over, gets Jeffrey out of the car, and then he starts going there. With the whole thing of asking him why was he at Candace's house and is that his girlfriend, all these questions that he already knows the answers for. Jeffrey's like, no, we're just friends. Are you having sex with her? Jeffrey's like, no, I ain't having sex with her. We're not friends like that. So he goes and tells her, I know you're not because you're gay. She told me you're gay. And see, people like me hate people like you. And he went into this whole thing, this whole rant. about how he hates gay people and this, that, and the other. And then he felt Jeffrey up. He's rubbing on Jeffrey. And then he's looking and he's like, that's making you hard, ain't it? And I'm like, why are you playing dick and ball games with Jeffrey, honey? And I'm like, then I'm thinking to myself, Jeffrey, really, are you really that loose and horny that some fool telling you how much he hates gay people rubbing on you is making you hard, Jeffrey? But I guess maybe Jeffrey is. Whatever. Um, so they go through that whole thing, and he's steady going on with all his spewing all his hate. Then he puts Jeffrey back in the car, told him, that where I'm from, we would, you'd be beat up or killed or whatever he's saying. I mean, all these threats, the homophobic bullshit. So then he goes and he puts Jeffrey back in the car, and then he's telling Jeffrey about, you're breaking the law, because I guess whatever state they're in, it's against it, because sodomy and all that is illegal in some states. So I guess that was the whole thing. He's saying, you're breaking the law, blah 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 blah. He gets in the car with Jeffrey. Jeffrey's whimpering and crying and carrying on, and he's telling him, gonna say, I know what you. He said, look at them lips, because he got in the car and asked him, well, what do you be doing with guys? And Jeffrey's like, give her say something. He's real crazy. He's like, don't lie to me. Yeah, he was real crazy redneck bullshit. And this is how people act when they hate you so much, but they want to get a little taste. So, that love-hate thing. Not our issue. That's your issue. But whatever. So Jeffrey's yes sir and him and doing all this bullshit. I'm like getting madder and madder as I'm sitting there. Then he starts telling Jeffrey about, you look at those lips. I know what you like to do with those lips. And Jeffrey's like, no, I don't. This, that, and the other. He's like, yeah, because you want to offer me fellatio to keep me from taking you to jail. And Jeffrey's like, no, you're wrong. I don't. Honey, he went and was getting a little pink meat right on out, baby. He was getting ready to make Jeffrey suck him up, honey. I said, oh, you motherfucker, you better cut it out. So in essence, you hate gay people so much that you're going to go ahead and rape Jeffrey. Now, Jeffrey's real cute, but rape ain't cute. There's no need to raping. Just talk nice to Jeffrey, and maybe Jeffrey will be nice to you, because Jeffrey likes white boys. So maybe Jeffrey will be nice to you. And Jeffrey like a motherfucker that dogs him out. So I just kind of sat there and looked and said, I wouldn't be surprised if later on in the episodes, him and Jeffrey don't end up being boyfriends. But that's off topic. Anyway, going back to this. So he's going on with all that. The only thing that saved Jeffrey was that his little radio goes off and they tell him, didn't you say you had a Jeffrey Harrington? And he's like, yeah. They're like, bring him, how long before you get here? This, that, thing, and the other. Because the DA is looking for him. So then he's asking him, who are you? Jeffrey's like, I'm Jeffrey. That's it. He's like, don't lie to me. And he's like, I don't know what the DA is looking for me for or whatever. But Jeffrey was that close to being raped by the policeman. I said, that was real cute. Yeah, that type of shit do happen. That type of shit does happen under the ranks of straight folks that have some type of little power. Yeah, they'll do your gay ass in. Yeah, they will. So I gave Tyler his points back for that. That's fine that you brought Quincy back, but you told the truth about some of these tyrant ass straight folk. But that was cool. So then he gets out the car and everything and told Jeffrey, what you were trying to do is illegal and you're disgusting. So he was just throwing all that out there so that if Jeffrey didn't suck him off, then he was just going to go ahead and put more charges on Jeffrey. And he still may try. Who knows? He's a jackass. But don't worry. If he sticks around, Candace will get him, honey. Jeffrey get the chance to tell Candace what he did. Candace will get his ass. But anyway, so he goes and he gets out the car and he's zipping his pants up and carrying on to go. I said, oh, he's a freak. So he's taking him on downtown. So that's pretty much that. Well, the DA has already talked to her little girlfriend that works down at the jailhouse. So she's telling her all this about, the girl told her, Jeffrey Harrington's on his way and he got a DUI and all that. So she tells them, get 3 cells together and I want you to put the women in one cell, the two men in the other cell and put Jeffrey in the middle. Now, okay, Tyler, you pushing it. You pushing it. I mean, they do what they want to do at the jail, but putting the men and the women together and all of this kind of carrying on, all this cell moving and stretching it a little bit. But okay, so that's the plan. We never did actually get to that part of it. I guess we'll get to that next week. But anyway, Maggie and Landon and got that whole thing going. So it's already hit the airways. Her spin on everything. Child, then this newspaper that came out already. And that's what she said. She wanted to make sure, Jennifer, the DA, wanted to make sure that they actually knew what was going on. So we see Catherine and Veronica, they throw a little newspaper in their cell. They haven't moved them yet. Threw the newspaper in their cell and throws one in there with Jim and David. So we see Catherine and Veronica first, and they're talking about it, and Veronica got all upset, and Catherine's looking like, well, girls, there's something you want to tell me, and Veronica's getting all mad because she's pretty much busted being a tramp, and there's a picture of her, fucking Benny on the front cover, busted. The picture, they were in the car, they were just heavy petting, and you can't really see Benny's face, but you can tell that it's Veronica. So Catherine, she's like, Catherine, I promise you, I'll tell you everything, but just not in here. There's ears in here. So she says, well, does David know? She gonna say, I'm sure he probably does right now. She figured out, she's like, it's that Maggie, Maggie. So then, in the meantime, between time, Jim actually has the paper, and he's going back and forth, like, look at your wife, this, that, thing, and the other. And then he will say, Maggie. He said, is Maggie trying to flip the script and trying to get you to run for mayor? And David's like, I don't know nothing about that. And I'm like, But Jim knows. Jim got in his head, so Jim's pissed. So, Jim's going to be after Maggie, too. So, next we see David over there groveling because his feelings is all hurt. I'm like, child, whatever. So, we got all that going on. Jennifer the DA, met up with another judge to get him to sign off on the money for that goddamn junky ass goddamn Wyatt. And Wyatt is getting like $12 million. Okay, and this is going to come as a lump sum. Okay, the judge was saying he didn't think it was a good idea, and he's worried about the addiction situation with Wyatt. And Jennifer's like, no, he has it under control. All that's going to be fine. No, really, he doesn't. Wyatt is a good get high motherfucker. He been drinking the whole time. And then we actually see the dealer show up. The dealer, he got this guy, it's a little rich kid. He's another rich kid that lives near there who is estranged from his family. Because he made the comment, if my family knew I was this close, they'd have me killed. So he's pretty much like Wyatt. He's all fucked up, and just out of order. So he got all these drugs, $80,000 worth of motherfucking, I guess it's heroin, for him or it might have been coke. It's probably coke. No, because he's rich, so it's probably coke. But a big old thing of coke, and Wyatt ain't have no money. This raggedy motherfucker then gave the guy, he was trying to give him their jewelry. And the guy was like, I don't want that shit. I want money. And he's like, they got credit cards? Wyatt gave him their credit cards, and he gave him a little bit of stuff. And then they went back and forth. The guy's like, Wyatt's like, I always paid you, this, that, and the other. He's like, no, because if you don't pay me, the guy whose drugs I'm carrying, he's going to kill me, and then he's going to kill your motherfucking ass. So Wyatt's like, I'm going to pay. So this guy, he couldn't even deny it and couldn't resist it because he's a motherfucking vicious junkie too. I don't know who, child. Listen, a junkie don't make a good drug dealer. That motherfucker said, well, can I call some people? Call some people over. And Wyatt, he said, I'll do it, as long as we can share. Junkie motherfucker. And Wyatt's like, yeah, we can share, And he's like, let me call some people over. And he's like, no, I don't want to do all that. And he's like, oh, come on, it'll be just like back in the day. Your parents is in jail. They ain't fucking coming home. Wyatt's like, yeah, good get high, motherfucker. And that's the other thing. Why junkies always want to be so free? Now, they'll steal you blind. A junkie will steal you blind and rob you blind and do you in. But why they always want to find another? They can't just go do it by themselves. They got to go find another junkie motherfucker to link up with. Never understood that. They're so selfish in one spot and so free-handed in another. Dumb. Anyway, so that was that. Then we got Hannah. Hannah got her old ass. She's still at the hotel. This bitch got $8 in her purse. 8. And is trying to figure out how she gonna make it and all this here. So she ends up talking to the woman from CYF, or Children Youth Services, and the lady's telling her, you know, she works with Hannah. She'll go back for a story. You get till 3 o'clock Monday to prove that you got stable housing, or I'm coming to get him. That's all. Let's just do it, you know, or you be in contempt of court or whatever. So we get through all that. Now the baby is sweating, literally sweating profusely. And I'm saying, this was another thing. I said, Tyler, stop playing. Stop it. Because Hannah's too smart for this. This baby is literally sweating profusely, and he's telling her he's hot. She's saying he don't feel like he got a fever. See, right away. Well, I had small kids. So if my baby is hot, is saying they're hot, even if they're not feeling hot, but they're in a cold, because a cold sweat is a problem, especially on a tiny little person. So that would have right away triggered you to go back to the hospital, especially then the baby said something about medicine that his aunt gives him, and Hannah know they released him without any medication. So something's not being said and something's wrong. But she went on and laid on over there and laid down. Tyler, stop it. Stop it. That's a hole in your script. So I was pissed off about that right away. That made me mad, because how stupid do you think we are? Now this is you introduced us to Hannah. Hannah is a motherfucking worrywart, and she's a killjoy. There's no way Hannah wouldn't have left and went, not the character that you created. There's no way that she wouldn't have left up out of that hotel going to that hospital with that baby. Especially when the baby had already been, I ain't buying that, Tyler. But okay. So we got all that going on. Oh, and also the little junkie guy, he actually got the piss and the paperwork for Wyatt as well. The paperwork to actually present to Jennifer, and got him pissed so he could be able to pass his piss test. He's a real good one. A good raunchy motherfucker with his junkie ass. So the next thing we got Benny. Now Benny then called this guy Mitch, and he also called Warlock. You all remember War. Candace's friend War. And he's trying to get them to, which they got a beef already, but he's trying to get them to come into business with him and go straight and work with him at the lot. Now Benny's old dumbass. Benny's stupid, and he's steadily answering all Warlock's questions about how he ended up getting it. And you can see in War's face, something wasn't right. He kept asking questions about Candace, and this, that, thing, and the other, and on and on and on. And then he asked him, well, what do you mean she paid for this? She paid for your house, and she paid for her house. And that motherfucking dumbass Benny was just running it. Yeah, just running it. So War asks him, where Candace live? This dumb motherfucker told him. Still ain't never got to. So why did you keep asking me about Candace? Dumbass Benny done told him. So the last thing we see, fucking dead ass Quincy laying over there, just dead, honey. And her ready to try to get rid of the body. War shows up. And then Tyler did it again. Now you done confused us. You're going off of the center of the character you built. War is like what I got. I thought he was like a brother to Candace. Like he kind of, was a brother to her, but he flipped it on us. And War came in all like, yeah. He rolled up in there. And it's evident that they, in the past, they fuck. He's a fuck buddy. And he rolled all up in there on her with that old sexy shit. And he is cute too. So roll up in there on her, and the next thing you know, he done grabbed that bitch up out her motherfucking neck and told her, bitch, you try to play me, you got all this money, and you gonna give me $150,000, bitch, and you got millions of dollars, and start choking her out. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. And I didn't understand it, because she gave you money, a decent amount of money, for whatever it was that you had done. She ain't owe you shit else, War. And he's literally choking her out, acting just the fuck like Quincy. Choking her out. And he's choking her out until he happens to look over and see Quincy's motherfucking ass stretched out a pool of blood. And that's where we ended at. It left me mad because I didn't like the flip of the script of War, and I didn't like the shit that went on with Hannah. None of those two things made any sense. It was so off from what we knew of these characters up till now. But that's all right, Tyler. Whatever. I'm following you. Whatever. You gonna have to do something with me with this. But you can't just take and change the people. Because I mean, and maybe I'm wrong. You all leave it in the comments. My feeling of War was always like War was more of a brother to Candace and Benny. You know, he was like that brother from another mother. You know, he's the dirty one. He would clean up the messes. You know, but never did I get that him and Candace was fucking. Yeah, your man ain't gonna know. Your man ain't gonna know. What? None of that didn't make no sense. Tyler, I don't know. Leave it in the comments, guys, what you think. But that's what I got. It had me all pissed off, and that shit didn't make no sense. So this is it. This is where we ended. So I can't wait till next Wednesday to see what's going on. But Tyler, you got some work to do. You got some work to do. You got some explaining to do. So anyway, that's it, guys. Thumbs up, thumbs down. You know how all that works. And like I said, I can't wait till next week to see where Tyler takes us because he kind of left me hanging today. But all right, y'all. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.